Welcome to my second game of Rome, Fate of an Empire. The first game I played just after reading the rules, and as is to be expected, I made a lot of rule mistakes. Maybe not even as many as I would have expected, although it turned out quite good, I think. But there were some really major rule mistakes I made. For example, the enemies are not revealed, so you have to actually be adjacent to see what enemies you have to fight. That obviously makes it much harder to plan, like to go for a specific enemy in the beginning. And I also read the FAQ, which was really helpful to clear up some of the situations I ran into in my first game. And again, surprisingly enough, many of them turned out as written in the FAQ, so I'm happy about that. But let's try to make one game without any rule mistakes. For those new to the game, let me quickly explain what all of this is. So we have our round and turn tracker here. So we are playing a short game, which means we are playing only 3 rounds, but it could be 4 rounds if you go for a longer game. And this is the turn tracker, which limits the number of turns you have per round. In the first round, we can have up to 5 turns. So the moment we would put this cube on the space with the number 1, the round immediately ends and you don't have an extra turn. So for the second round, you can have 6 turns, and for the third round, you can have 7 turns. I also learned from my first game that you should really make the most of these turns, so there's no need to play too hastily. You start with a deck of 16 cards, so if you want to play them over 5 turns, you on average play something like 3, maybe 4 cards per turn. So if you play all 5, you are playing too fast. Of course you can get more cards, but it's not actually that easy. The round will also end after the turn where you exhausted your deck first. Even if you could draw up all the cards to your hand limit and then the deck is empty, you still only get this turn. So if you buy any additional cards, you won't get an extra turn later. Then we have the market here, where there are the developments. These are the cards that you place on the territories to improve them. So you get an initial bonus. You can later influence them to produce resources or do some other actions. These are all level 1 in the beginning. There are 2 piles, a level 1 and level 2 development pile. You get only access to the development 2 cards, either if you are entering the round 3 or if you have already placed 5 development cards besides the starting capital. And once you have access, whenever you refresh one of these slots, you can choose yourself if you want to put a level 1 or level 2 development card on that spot. If you pick a card from the offer, if you buy it, so there are the gold costs here. So the cards that have been out longer are usually cheaper, and you either have to buy them to get rid of them, or you can cycle them by paying some other resource to just get rid of them. They are not refreshed immediately, but only at the end of the turn. On the other side of the market, we have the attribute cards, advanced attributes. So those are cards that you want to add to your deck, which are generally much more powerful than your starting cards of 16. And it's the same if you buy one of those, the spot will not be filled immediately, but only after your turn. I put the strive and loan piles here. So these are 2 cards that you could get over the course of the game as a penalty for getting something else good. For example, loan gives you money, obviously, but you do have to pay it back later, or you will get a lot of minus glory points at the end of the game. So the glory point tracker is in the middle, so it goes up to 50, but it's not a limit. If you go beyond that, you just start over and mark the 50 with one of your cubes. On the other side, I have my leader. So I'm playing a leader of Rome. In this case, it's Augustus. All the leaders are very different in what advantages and disadvantages they have. These things are actually quite important to keep in mind because they really alter the rules of the game. For example, with Augustus, whenever I buy development, so these are these ones here, I need to pay 1 more gold, and it's a huge price increase. Usually I would cost from 2 to 4, but for Augustus it's actually 3 to 5, which is really expensive. But once you have bought it, if you want to actually place it on the board, then you only have to pay 1 less action point. So the action points are these here, 4, 5, 4, 6, and 7. So at least there's a bit of an upside with this leader that these action points are reduced by 1 that you need. Also, the enemies will have defense values, and for Augustus, the enemies will have 1 less defense if you want to conquer them. And one of the biggest upsides of this leader is the foreign trade. You can initiate trade with these territories here that have these round spaces here, even if your leader is not present. So that really allows you right in the beginning of the game to initiate trade, even with factions that are quite far off from your capital. All the leaders have these virtue tracks here, where you have stability, power, wisdom, capacity, and population. And increasing those will give you more limits. For example, Augustus also has 3 trade deal slots in the beginning. That's quite a lot. So other leaders start with fewer, and you can go up to 6 with him. Then these are the influence tokens, which are governed by wisdom. I start with 3 and I can get up to 6 of them again over the course of the game. Then the power determines your hand limit. That's the number of cards you draw up to for your next turn. So you can keep cards in hand. If you keep some in hand, you will draw less, obviously, because you're only drawing up to this number. You are starting with a hand limit of 5. This is my initial hand already, and the hand limit can go up to 8. The capacity finally gives you the number of steps you can do once you play a card for movement. You can play any card for movement, and it always gives you a number of movement steps which are determined by your capacity. So in the beginning of the game it's 2. Movement and adjacency is always orthogonal, so you can never move diagonally. Then there's also the population, which actually starts at 1. It's the only thing that starts at 1 because you do have a population. So increasing it to first step doesn't do anything for this leader, and it can go up to 5. As far as I can tell, population is most interesting for taxing. So if you have a larger population, you will get more gold if you collect taxes. Makes sense. Then this board governs your resources. So your iron, stone, food and water, where you can always have up to 10 of. And you also have gold. In a normal game, you start with 3 gold. If you're playing easier levels, you might start up with 7. That's a huge difference, obviously. All right, and besides my cheat sheet here for turn and round, so what to do, I do have my draw deck and my discard pile, so I'm arranging it like this. And finally, we come to the edicts. So these are like the victory conditions. In a short standard game, you would draw 3 and keep 2. Both of those you have to fulfill at the end of the game to win. And the sum of the glory points is your glory point target that you have to beat to also, well, to win the game. I am tempted to try it on hard because in my first game I won already, even though I did some mistakes. But I do think, especially not playing all my turns of the rounds, so sometimes I just play 3 of the 5 or more I could have played. I think that makes a huge difference, so I think I'm going for a hard game. If I'm losing, that shouldn't, well, make the video any worse for you to understand how the game works, and if I don't admit any mistakes, you should be able to learn or pick up on the basic rules. Which means that of these 3 edicts I have to choose 2 now and have to flip one to the harder side, so to the full edict side. And since I did not choose an edict yet, that's already the first mistake I made. So I've drawn my opening hand before choosing the edicts. I'm 100% certain that I would not choose any edict because of my starting hand, because I have no idea what I'm doing yet. It's my second game. But let's shuffle them back in and make it correct. So you have to choose your edicts before seeing what your opening hand actually is. I think if you know the game, that probably makes a difference. So these 2 edicts are like a little bit simpler. So the bottom half means that over the course of the game you have to spend these amounts of resources. So you can work on this whenever you like as a regular action. You have to spend 3 food, for example, to fulfill the first condition, and you cannot fulfill more than 1 in the same turn. So you have to do it over at least 3 turns here. But this just means that you have to spend a lot of food, like 13 food. And the same goes here for iron to build a road network. The upper condition for the market edict here is that you have a maximum of 3 strife cards in your deck. So in my first playthrough I didn't have many of them, but maybe that was a mistake. These are, as I said in the beginning, penalties you get for taking some action. For example, for battling enemies, if you don't have enough strength, you can still beat them. You can still conquer the territory, but you do get a strife card as a penalty, and you can get rid of them using culture. And culture was something that I wasn't actually sure what to do with most of the time. So this gives you a sink for your culture cards, and it can often be beneficial to conquer the enemy even if you don't have enough strength, just to progress in the game. Taxing people also gives you strife, so if you do manage to increase your population early, then taxing might be a good way to get gold. And again, you will collect strife cards from this that you have to get rid of at some point. And this edict says that you have a maximum of 3 strife cards in your deck at the game end, so you can't overdo it with strife cards if you go for this. The road building edict here has the upper condition that you have to have at least 5 developments that are not adjacent to the capital. So the capital is in the dead center, and these 4 territories are adjacent. So every other space where you build a development will count. So you have to have at least 5, which is quite manageable, I would say. And just to show you this, if I put them to the full side, they become a lot harder. So the resources, I think it was 14 for the other side. We are now up to 21 here. This is 19, I think it was 12 or so before. And I have to build at least 8 developments not adjacent to the capital. And this means I have to clear all strife cards from the deck. These are really hard. Finally, the third edict I could choose is the Great Fire, where I start with strife in my deck. And at game setup, I'm actually placing strife cards in all the adjacent territories, so I'm surrounded by fires. These territories are then barred from using, so I cannot develop on them, you cannot visit them or interact with them in any other way. But you can develop them, and this kind of puts out the fire then, but you will take the strife card into your discard piles. So over the course of the game, you would collect 4 strife cards, and to fulfill the edict, you have to clear all them from the board. but there's already an anti-synergy, I would say, from these two edicts here, where you're picking up strife cards and then you must not have too many in your deck at the end. And the more advanced version says that you are starting with 2 strife cards in your deck, and then these southern diagonal territories will also be on fire. So these two have enemies anyway, but it will mean that you are picking up 6 strife cards from the board. So I'm really sure that I do not want to do this, at least not in my second game. This is a very low glory point goal. That's good, because you have to achieve a number of glory points, which is the sum of the 2 edicts you choose. So I think I will go with the Great Fire just on the regular side, because I do not want to combine 2 edicts which both needs resources. I'm not feeling confident enough to produce that many. And so the question is, which do I take? And I think I'm going with the market here, because I played this last game. That's the only reason, pretty much. Looking at the offer, there is a farm that can produce food, so maybe that's something good. So it can produce it regularly, and if you have industry, once you influence a farm, you will get a food as well. So that's already nice to produce food. There's a bridge that can produce iron, so that's also good. But I learned quite quickly that you really have to start with these developments here, because they are just too expensive, especially with Augustus as a leader. Yeah, let's not overthink this, so let's go with this. And for me, the only remaining question is, do I actually want to go with the hard mode? So that would mean to turn one of these on the other side. And I do not want to make the Great Fire even worse. So yeah, but I already said that this is an anti-synergy. Let's maybe stick with a normal difficulty game. Alright, so I'm putting a strife card in my deck. That's also another reason why I have to shuffle it anyway and then draw up later. So I can already pull that out if I'm unlucky. Now we have to place 4 strife cards to the orthogonal territories, and it says that I cannot use the abilities of territories covered by strife, but when you develop these territories, take the strife card into your discard. So what I'm unsure about is if I can still get the on development bonus, because I am adjacent to 3 of them that actually give me 2 resources once I develop them. So is this also disabled, or does removing this on development actually mean that I do get these bonuses? That would be quite important. So this was quite easy to look up. So Joe answered on BGG for exactly this question. The idea was that you have to get rid of the strife card before you can make use of the territory, but on development you are getting rid of it, so you will get the on development bonus. That's really nice. And I do think also that it does not hide what's there, because it's only placed there after the map is already constructed, so I will know what resources I get. But let me place them here anyway, so to mark that, to make that very clear. And this finally concludes the setup. So I'm drawing my first hand of 5 cards. The starting deck consists of 16 cards, 4 of each color, and when you play a card, you get the upper section for free, or instead, if you pay a resource of the matching color, you can boost the card to get the lower section instead. And usually they are just strictly better. Maybe sometimes they are just completely different from each other. But usually it's something like you get 2 culture, here you get 3, and then there are different ways to boost it. So here you can get 2 or 3, or if you boost it, you get 3 or 5 if you fulfill the boosting criteria. This is also the only situation where you can substitute a resource with gold. So to boost the cards, you can pay gold instead. But gold is a precious resource. Actually, it's not counted as a resource in the game. Loosely speaking, it's also something that you have to accumulate and spend wisely, and paying gold for boosting cards can be good, of course, but it's costly. You should really think about, where do I get these resources if you plan on boosting these cards. You can also see here that there are cards which are special to your leader. There are always 2 cards that are being replaced from the starting deck. One is better than the original, the other one is worse. And this is actually the worst card, so that's the Civil War of Augustus. You must play this card immediately, so the moment I reveal, I have to play it. And now I have to discard a red card, so I would have to get rid of this. If I do not have a red card, I would have to discard 2 other cards. But I could also boost this. I don't have food, obviously, but I could spend a gold to play the card for its improved action instead. And this reads, ignore the basic action of this card, which is good. You must immediately take a loan. You still receive 2 gold. So that means I could opt to spend 1 gold to get 2 gold, but also a loan card. But this would mean I can hold on to this card here. So for me, the question will be, do I really want to get rid of 2 cards already and have a first turn with only 3? Or do I want to hold on to this, get a net improvement of 1 gold, but have to deal with a loan card later? And to be honest, I don't feel like playing with 3 cards only and getting 1 net positive gold. This could actually be an advantage because Augustus does need gold anyway. Because if I want to build a development, I have to pay 3 gold to begin with. So I haven't even started my first turn yet. I'm already I'm already entering the puzzly section of the game, where I do need to think about what do I even want to do. Do I really want to go up to 3 gold to pick up the farm or barracks? Is there any chance I can come up with for Augustus 5 technology or 6 military to actually place them? Or do I rather want to pay the gold for these advanced cards here, so I have to read them and see if they do anything nice for me? Or do I ignore all this and just start movement, so pay cards to move the leader and visit some of these territories here? For example, here I can get an iron just for resting on this at the end of my turn. Then there's also the foreign trade that I have to consider. So for technology, you can initiate trade wherever you like. So that would be good to get an income stream of resources. But in my starting hand, I don't even have technology, so that's probably out of the question. So maybe just discard these 2 cards and having a shorter first turn is not that bad. The trade deals are nothing that I have to worry about in each single turn, so that's more a concept of per round. To get them earlier in a round is beneficial, but you don't have to do it in the first turn. Whereas the influence tokens, if you influence a territory or a development and then spend it, you will get it back at the end of the turn. So if you want to make the most of it, I should really see if I can influence 3 developments. At the beginning of the game, there's only the capital and you can only influence a development once. So that's probably a given that I want to influence the capital. So that's an action I can always do. Where the leader is only, so I'm on the capital currently, so I can put the influence there. The developments will say what you can do with the influence. So the star symbol says that if you spend the influence, so if I turn it around, so on the other side there's the crossed out influence marker, I can then either tax, borrow, or do a festival. The festival is to get to return strife cards equal to your wisdom, which is exactly 0 currently, so there is no gain in doing a festival. But I could borrow money by getting up to 2 loans, so I can either get 2 or 4 gold, that's huge, or I can tax, again a strife card, and then I have to, I do get a gold per population. I have 1 population, so taxing would just give me a gold, but also a strife. And in the beginning of the game, you do need a lot of gold, so I think it's fair to say that I will either tax or borrow. And if I'm not developing a territory, then there's really no use for my other influence tokens in the first turn. But we are still at a decision here what we want to do with the Civil War, if we want to discard this card together with it, or if we want to pay a gold to get a gold net, so to get 2 for a loan and put a loan in our discard pile already. If I play this card outside of getting military, I can discard a card to gain 2 resources of that color, so I could get stone or water. I don't have any other cards to play. If I'm going for the barracks or the farm, so the farm would need technology, so the same resource that I need for the trade deals, which I don't have. So it's really just the barracks I could currently build, unless I'm going for a loan, get much more gold, and then I can go to the other developments here. For example, the mausoleum actually builds with culture, which I do have. It gives a population and a wisdom, so that's both nice, and has an on influence spending action that makes exchanges much more worthwhile. So an exchange is exchanging 4 of the same resource for 1 gold. That's quite expensive. Many of the other effects allow you to turn 2 resources into a gold, so much better ratio. But if you have influenced the mausoleum and you are using your influence for the walls ability, you can also get 2 of another resource. So you're spending, for example, 4 stone, so exchanging this for gold, and you can get 2 food instead. That makes it much more worthwhile, but currently I don't have any resources, so that's not good. And the while influence ability of the mausoleum means that you can pay food for 3 military for each of your conquests. So that really helps with battling these enemies. And this is an ongoing effect, so you can leave your influence marker there to always use it whenever you do a conquest. The bridge needs industry to be built. We do have an industry card, but it doesn't provide that much industry. And there's another mausoleum, which defeats the purpose. So we can just take the cheaper one. All right, let's decide on something with the Civil War. I think I will boost it with a gold instead of paying the food. So I'm ignoring the basic action. I can keep the card, but I have to immediately take a loan. I do get my gold, so I'm up to 3 again. And this goes to the discard pile. All right, so the second action then was to influence the capital. I have to do it afterwards. And I do think I need more gold. So I'm eyeing the mausoleum because I can build it easily. I would need 1 more gold for this because Augustus makes the buying developments more expensive. So where was the food? So this territory gives me iron on being developed. This one gives me water. And this one actually does give me food. So this is quite interesting for me because it would give me the food that I need to then use the Honor the Fallen ability of the mausoleum, which makes battling these enemies a little bit easier. So I do think I want to go with the plan on buying the mausoleum and developing it on this territory. So let's use our influence on the capital, so it's exhausted here, to either tax or borrow. I don't think I want to pick up more strife cards, so let's go with a loan. So at least 1. So that would give me 2 gold, brings me up to 5. The question is, do I want to pick up another loan? That's a tough decision for your second game. I don't know what's good here, but I don't see me paying them back anytime soon. Let's maybe stick with just... technically it's already my second loan because I had to play one for Civil War. Alright, so I've used my influence on the capital and I will now buy the mausoleum. That costs 3 regularly, so it costs me 4 as Augustus. And I can either put this into my hand or I can put it into play area. If I put it into play area and I'm not developing this turn, it will cost me 1 gold in the beginning of the next turn. So the active projects phase means you have to pay for active projects. If I keep it in hand, it doesn't cost me anything, but it will block up my hand. So I'm not drawing that many cards. But I do think I want to develop this right now, which again for Augustus only needs 3 culture instead of 4. I don't have a strife card in hand, so I can't get it up to 3 here. Paying a water, well, I don't have a water, so I think I will just play these 2 cards here. Might be inefficient, but it's 4 culture. I only need 3 with Augustus. And I'm placing this to the north. The strife card goes into my discard, and I'm now triggering the on development ability of the territory, resource deposits, which give me 2 food. The mausoleum gives me 2 glory points. Oh, I didn't reset that from the last game. So I'm starting at 0, obviously. So now I'm at 2. And I do get a population, and I do get stability, which does give me my 4th trade agreement slot that might come in quite handy. Alright, so this was quite something for the first turn. I do think I still want to go there, but does it make a difference? I could use influence to produce a stone. Maybe I should do that. And then if I end my turn there, I can influence it again in the next turn. And seeing that enemies usually give a lot of gold, maybe I want to hold on to this card here. But do I play this to move to essentially just get 1 stone? Once I move there, I will see the enemies, so I could move on into one of these territories with the idea to battle them later. Or even immediately, why not? I think I'm playing too fast again, but I don't have an active trade agreement, so playing slower will be more beneficial once I'm trading. So I think I want to play this for movement. So I'm getting 2 movement because I don't have any capacity. And I will move to the mausoleum, which then reveals the adjacent enemies. The enemies all have a glory point value and a gold value. So for me, the gold value is obviously the most important thing. But to defeat them, you have to come up with a military of at least their defense. But for Augustus, it's decreased by 1, so that's an important thing. And after defeating them, you have to deal with their attack, and otherwise you will get 1 strife card per attack that you are not matching with your military. So for a flawless victory, so to speak, this one I would have to come up with 4 military. For this, it's 7 minus 1 is 6. And for this, it's actually 9 minus 1, so it's 8. So this is by far the easier one. But I do want to spend another influence here on the mausoleum to activate the Honor of the Fallen. So once per conquer action, you pay 1 food to add +3 military to a conquer action. So I do have 2 food. So per conquer action, I can only use it once, but it means that I can have a military of +3. Unfortunately, without the gold, I can't even activate this, but if I do, I will have 4 military, and then with the food, I will be at 7. So that would allow me to really go for any of these enemies. I could even go for this enemy without playing a card, just with the mausoleum. That brings my military to 3. And I only need 4, it doesn't have any attack, so I would get a strife card, but the enemy would be dead. And at the end of the turn I would even get a water, because I can then use the territory and it has a resting action. I do like that a lot, and it would mean that I can keep this card to maybe get an iron from a trade and then bumping it up without paying gold. Because paying gold to get gold is kind of defeating the purpose. So let's do that, I think. The other ones are far too much military to actually defeat. So let's move here. The first movement brought me to the mausoleum. The second movement to this territory. So the movement is now gone. And I do want to attack this enemy here. So to conquer it. And I do need 4 defense. I have a while influenced ability, Honor the Fallen. Once per conquer actions. I'm doing a conquer action. I pay 1 food to add +3 to a conquer action. So I'm at 3 actually. Oh, actually I can't do that because I need to come up with this value to even have it be successful. And then the attack value is the one that I can ignore and get strife cards instead. So I probably have to play that. Is that a bad idea? Well, I don't get a strife card for this, so I think it's still worth it. And there will be more battling cards in my deck. And I do like me to get a water. If I liberate any of the others, so if I conquer them, I will be able to trade with them. But then again, it doesn't give me an immediate bonus. So let's bump it up to 4. So 3 from, so you can play any of these cards face down for +1 of any attribute that you like. So I'm picking military, obviously. And with the +3 from the mausoleum, I'm at 4. And with Augustus, that's 4. 4 is enough to beat it. And it doesn't have any attack value. So I'm defeating this. It doesn't give me any glory points, but 2 gold, which is quite welcome. And I have to remember that at the end of the turn, I get a water, but we can do this with this card here. So what else is to do? I don't have any cards left, but I do have a lot of gold. So I am thinking about picking up one of these actions here, one of these attributes cards here. The musician, unfortunately, well, actually, I did buy the mausoleum. So when I read the card in the beginning, it says ready in influence on a development that provides stability. But I did actually ended up developing a territory with a development that does provide stability, so it actually works, which means that I can use this, I can ready this after using it. So I can produce, for example, a stone, play this card to ready it again and produce another stone, or use the waltz ability. So that's quite nice, and I can spend an influence on a development that provides stability to gain 8 culture. That's a lot. So I'm actually liking that card a lot now that I have the mausoleum. So it only costs me 1 gold, and I have an unspent influence token already on it. So I could, if I have a water, well, I will get a water. That's nice. So I think I will do that. I might not have a perfect plan yet, but I'm spending a gold to put it on top of my deck. The astronomy is also quite interesting because it allows me to place this card in my project area, and when I build a development, I can pay a resource of the color of the attribute type that it needs to gain 2 gold. That's huge. And the advanced action says that I can spend up to 2 influence on developments that provide wisdom that I don't have currently to gain gold for each. So that's a card that produces gold, and that sounds quite promising. That would also lower the cost of the other cards, but I would have to spend 2 gold now. And I think that's rushing it. Let's just wait for after the turn when this goes down to 1 gold and buy it then. I think there's no rush to get it now. And that finally concludes the turn. So I've taken as many actions as I like, and I'm cleaning up, resolving the resting leader action, which means I do get a water from the territory. I'm removing spend influence from the empire, so I'm getting this one back. So I'm up to 3 again. I'm discarding all the played cards, and I think I might be doing this wrong, but for me it's easier once the card is done to just get rid of it. Maybe I should be lying here, but I would have to indicate which card I played and which not, because I do not have the cards in my hand physically because I want to show you. So usually you would discard them now, replenish the market. So the astronomy is now only 1 gold. That's nice, and there are nice combat cards coming up, military, which might be good in the beginning of the game when you actually have an opportunity to battle a lot. And this is a card you can boost to get a lot of culture, which might help with all these strife cards. For the developments, I'm moving them down and replacing with a new one, and it has to be level 1, which is an interesting building because it gives me 2 capacity, which would bump up my movement to 3. And it is a card that can produce water or food. And it's sometimes a condition to place other buildings or development. But that's the refreshing of the market or replenishing the market. I'm drawing my new hand. So I'm drawing 5 cards. The first one will be the musician that we just picked up. Discipline, chariot, show of force, and another show of force. So a lot of military. That might be useful because we do have our mausoleum active, and we do still have a food. But I really want to get a trade going with the chariot here. So let's see what we can do here. We did not exhaust our deck, so this is not our last turn. And we advanced the turn cube. And of course it's our second turn now, so there's no end of round in sight. Then we go back to the active projects phase, so we don't have any active projects, and we check our agreements, but we didn't get around to do any agreements yet, so there's nothing to do, and we are now second turn. Alright, as Augustus we can choose whatever trade agreement we like, and usually they cost either 3 or 4 technology for the immediate effect, which gives you 2 of a resource usually. The cheaper one for 3 sometimes gives you 1 now and 1 at the start of the next round, so that would be a little worse. And the ongoing effects either cost 6 or 7 technology. That's quite a lot, and I don't think I can come up with this yet. They then give you a resource every turn, and this is really huge because if you are playing all your turns in each round, so if you have playing 5 now, 6 in the next round, it's already 11, so you get a lot of resources. But I don't think it's in the cards, quite literally, because even with the food I have, I can get only 4 technology. This will give me one of these better immediate deals, but it's only 2 resources, and then that's it. So to come up with 6, I would have to play 2 more cards face down for +1 on technology. And I'm not sure I want to pay this cost. Actually, I did not reveal the next enemies on moving to this territory, so I will see those 2. That's quite a tough enemy with 4 defense and 5 attack, so 9 to not get any strife cards. And you only in quote get 3 gold as well, but 2 glory points, but I'm not too concerned about them yet. And this one here is 6, so for Augustus it's 5. That sounds quite manageable. And it's sitting on another space that would give me a resting bonus, again a food, which is nice because it kind of pays for the mausoleum activation then. But where do I get my technology from? I should really make a good trade deal. Actually, discipline, I forgot that this is only providing military if you discard a red card. So to play discipline, you have to discard another attribute card. If it's red, you get 4. But if it's a non-red card, you can either get technology or industry. That's quite interesting because this allows me to produce 3 if I don't boost it. And another 4, it's 7. So it's one of the advanced deals. But I would have to discard this, the musician, then. It's a bit sad because all the other cards are red and it costs me a lot of cards. So with the musician, I'm thinking that the culture I could already get because I have a mausoleum that's influenced and I do have a water to power it. So I could gain 8 culture, but I do not have any strife cards in hand to actually pay back to return the card. And what do I even do with the culture? So the most culture I would need is for this building here or this development, but it would cost 5 gold to even pick up. And I think it's not the highest priority to actually buy that or build that. So maybe this is not as useful now, but it might be useful later. And readying the influence on that card is only useful if I spend it before. Do I want to spend it for a stone? Currently I don't have a use for stone, and spending it for the waltz ability is also not useful because I'm nowhere near any exchange. So maybe I don't need that now, which means that I can discard it with the discipline to get 3 technology. Since I can use foreign trade, I can cherry pick what I want. So I can pick a space where I'm getting the resources right now. And I still have so many tokens that it's a bit of a waste to put one on an immediate effect because it will stay on the tile until it's developed, if I develop it at all in the game. And that's quite far out of position here. But it would give me 2 food, for example, so I can use the mausoleum ability several times. And I do have a lot of combat power and a chariot with which I can move a lot. Or I can even use this to make another immediate deal. I think I should really invest these 3 cards to get a good deal. So the discipline with the musician could give me 3. With the food here, I can power this card for another 4. That's at 7. So 7 technology will give me an ongoing trade deal. And I am not in any rush, so maybe I should just end the turn at that point. But let's pick a trade deal. Iron would be nice. But then again, food, considering that I also have this edict here, would be extremely good. As I said, I will get it for all the turns of this round and the next. So if I do play 6 turns next round, and I'm only in my 2nd turn, so I will also play 4 now, so that will be 10 food to get this. That's insanely good. So I might regret not taking a little bit of iron, but I'm out of food also, and I do have the mausoleum, so I'd rather get my 3 military from this than 2 from boosting this. So I think I'm picking food. So I have a trade deal here with this territory, and I'm getting 1 food per turn. I get 1 now, and then every turn from now on. Alright, this was quite costly, but I think it's useful. And I think I'm just staying there and picking up another water. Why not? It sounds quite efficient. Why would I waste a card of these to move now if I can just end the turn now? So I'm getting the resting leader action. So 1 more water from this territory. I'm replenishing the market. Well, I didn't buy anything. Well, maybe I can think about that, or I should think about that. We were talking about picking up the astronomy. Yeah, I really should. I think I should pick that up. If for nothing else, then to make the other cards again more cheap. Yeah, I don't think there's any reason not to, so let's pick that up. I know I will draw it, so maybe that's a reason against it. But let's do that before ending the turn. Nevertheless, I get the water, but now I have something to replenish. And there's a nice technology card that I would really like to pick up. 4 or 7 technology or reading influence. That sounds nice. When it comes to influence, my last turn was really bad because I didn't actually play an influence. But what can you do? I think in the beginning of the game, if you are using turns not to move, then yeah, it's just not in the cards. So we did replenish the market, and now we are drawing a new hand. So there's the astronomy, there's a physician, and a merchant. We advanced to turn cube, so now it's turn 3. There's no active project to pay, but I do have an active agreement, so I do get another food. That's so nice with these agreements. But I think you do have to do this with Augustus, because he really has a huge downside as well with the cost of developments. Over the course of the game, that might be 5 to 7 or 10 gold, depending on how much you develop, and this has to come from somewhere. Alright, so we should be fighting, I think, to pick up gold. With the gold, fund the buying of developments, and then use the cards to develop them. We should think about if we can make the astronomy work. Currently looking at my resources, I would have to build a green or a blue one. The farm would be nice. Getting 2 gold from building a farm and paying a food, which I have a trade deal for, sounds like a really good idea. The empowered action I can't do anyway, and unless I want to spend that like for 1 AP by playing it face down, then I can just play it into my play area, so it's out of my hand. That's my point. But there's also no rush to do that. But let's plan with the farm. So I would need 3 gold, so 2 more. I then would need technology, 5 of this. So this can produce with water, which is nice, 3 technology at least. So to actually build it, I would need even 2 more cards sideways. That's a bit much. Or I'm holding on to this. This does not block my hand, so if I play it into the play area, so that's nice. So what enemy can I actually defeat? Probably going north. Killing the easier one is preferable, where I will actually get a food, because I don't see myself coming up with 9 minus 1 is 8, 3 from the mausoleum is 5, 2 is 3. I don't have an iron to power, then I don't want to pay a gold. So if I go north instead, I need 3 military to defeat it and 2 to not get any strife. So that's 5. That's 2 plus the mausoleum. So it's much better, I think. So we do need to pick a card to move. So either the other show force or the merchant. I do think I want to keep on fighting a bit. So let's pick the merchant to move. It's movement 2. We spend 1 to move north. We then do a conquer action, paying a food for +3 and 1 of the show forces for another 2, that's 5. 3 is enough to defeat it, so the remaining 2 blocks his attack. Which means we do get a glory point and 2 gold. Mausoleum or the Honor the Fallen is really putting its work in here. I like it. So we do have a movement point left. Let's reveal the other enemy here in the corner. And it's another enemy with a total of 6, so with Augustus 5. So we can do the same thing again to also defeat that. And we do actually gain a gold. We only going to gain it on development, not on resting. But nevertheless, it sounds efficient to just use the last movement point to go there and then defeat it with show of force and another food with the mausoleum. Or do I rest here, which would waste the movement? I can't develop where I'm standing, so if I would think about buying the farm and developing it, I could go there and influence, but I think that's 2 steps ahead. So let's just be efficient here, use the last movement point to also move here. And again, do a conquer action, pay another food for 3, to show force for 2, that's 5. 3 is enough to defeat him, 2 to ignore the attack, so that's 1 glory point, and 2 gold. I'm getting rich. So I think what I'm doing is legal because it's once per conquer action, so it's not once per turn or something like this. And I just was lucky to reveal an enemy that's easy enough to defeat. And Augustus is good at defeating enemies, so these are the 2 things. You have to focus on trade and defeating enemies, at least that's what the manual says. So I feel confident that I'm playing him right. Alright, so I'm playing the astronomy into my play area, let's put that here, so it's not clogging up my hand. And I really want to use that to get gold for building a development. And I'm holding on to this card because it does give me technology for water. I could use this to activate a minor trade deal to get some immediate resources, but I do think I want to build a farm, so I'm not squandering this so easily. The question is, do I want to buy another card? And I do think I want to do that. Let's probably go with the battering ram. It's a 3/5 military card, and you can get stone if you end up having strife in your hand. That's an added bonus, but why not put a good military card in my hand? So let's just pay the gold. It sounds efficient to always pick them up for 1. If you really don't want a card, you can spend industry to cycle to get rid of it. But up to now, I'm confident with just using that. I don't see a reason to buy the farm now because it would just clog up my hand or cost the gold if I put it into the play area as well. So I think I'm ending the turn at that point. I again did not use my influence, but there's nothing to influence because I haven't developed so much yet. So there's no resting action, unfortunately, because I moved on. I do not get my tokens back because there are none. I already discarded the played card, so I'm replenishing the market. There's the art, which is really nice also to gain gold. So you can turn industry into gold or turn your stability virtue into capacity and also get gold per level you convert in the process. That's nice. But I'm eyeing this card and it's slowly coming down the line, so I probably want to pick that up. So I'm drawing a new hand, still with a limit of 5, but this does not count anymore. So there's the battering ram, of course. There's a strife card, the one we mixed into the deck, which actually is nice with the battering ram. And an engineer that also helps with building. Cool. I should probably have known that it is coming up. But in the second game, well, you don't know these cards so well. This was the drawing of the hand. So let's move on the turn counter. So this is my 4th turn now. And I can only have 5 in the first round. So this turn and the next. We don't have an active project, but I have an active agreement. So I'm getting a food again from my trade agreement. All right. So I really want to build this farm. The question is where, so I could play it here to resolve one of these fires, and these two will actually give me resources. This unfortunately does not, I think. Yeah, it's a resting action, so it doesn't matter, but once it's developed, it's gone anyway. And I have to think about if I want to reach it this turn. If I'm moving, maybe defeating this enemy with the battering ram, then I might end up moving to the farm and actually playing influence for a change. So if I can power this, but it would take a gold, that's 5 military. With the mausoleum and the food, it's another 3, that's 8. And I think that's perfect because it's 9, but with Augustus, the defense actually just 3. So it would defeat this enemy as well. And I do get another stone for this. Let's see how many cards are left in the deck. It's only 3, so we could add cards to actually play them in the next turn. So one of the cards we need for movement. So it's looking more and more like I need this for movement because I do want to battle then, and I can't use Strive, but I have to keep it in hand for now to get my stone. So the Strive is not useful for anything. Can't play it for AP. I do want to develop the farm, which probably means that I want to power this because I can then use one resource of any type to gain +4 of the needed attribute. So for a farm that only costs 6 or 5 with Augustus, 4 is only 1 short of being able to develop. But it would mean I need another card. But if I boost this, I'm 2 short of development. But it does not cost me an additional, because if I want to use this, I will probably use a water anyway. But it's not the most efficient way to build a technology building. Maybe I do build this building instead, and I'm not building the farm after all. It would cost me 6 culture. Powering this gives me 4, and I can just use the regular one by paying a resource to get +2 for needed attribute. So these two would actually build me this building. The astronomy would still kick in because I can pay a water, since it's blue, to get my 2 gold. And I do have 2 water to execute this plan. But it's a damn expensive building. But I think I'm trying this. So I'm using the senator to move. So I'm getting move 2, paying 1 to get into my next battle. This will actually reveal this enemy. So there's one that's actually 10 in total, 9 for Augustus. But I want to conquer this enemy where I'm currently at. It does need a food for 3. That's actually already defeating him because of the -1, but I need 5 if I don't want any strive cards. And I think that's worth 1 gold, because I don't have an iron to power this. And I'm getting 1 stone for the strive card I'm holding, and 5 military to avoid the attack. So that's the battering ram. We conquered this territory, so we do get 2 glory points and 3 gold, which bumps me up to 6. So now I have enough gold to buy this development here. It costs me the 4 + 1, so cost me 5 gold. That's really expensive. But as said, I can use then a water to power the physician to get 4 culture and use the engineer, pay 1 of any resource, and I think I'm paying actually the stone. Why not? Because I don't see what I'm doing with this anyway currently. To get another +2 of the needed attributes, so I'm at 6, and this is enough again because of Augustus. So you can buy this or play this now. And I do think I'm playing this here. Well, maybe, so from my last playthrough I've noticed that there are buildings that are conditional on being adjacent to a development that can produce water or food, and it can do both, so that's a good central piece. So this would be a good placement actually, but it would bar me from this. So I do have a movement, so I could pick up a water instead of going here, because I'm not sure if I want to continue battling. I should really get my influence going. So maybe I'm placing this here because it gives me 3 adjacent spaces, and I can move there and influence right now, influence it. It would lose me a gold, but for the rest of the game, if I leave it there, whenever you gain any amount of gold, pay 2 same type resources to gain 1 additional. The question is, where do I get my gold if not from an exchange? And this is what so this is the efficient way to do an exchange, 2 for 1 gold instead of 4. So do I really want to activate this right now, or do I rather place it somewhere else where I can also build on adjacent tiles, but do get 2 resources right now, and I'm just not influencing it. So these are discarded. These are used to come up with all the culture I need. I do get 3 glory points and 2 capacity. So my movement is now 3. This will not retroactively increase this, so it's only for the next cards I play for movement. Every time you influence this, you pay a gold, so I don't see me using this to get water or food. That's just not efficient. I don't think I have to activate it right now. So let's maybe put this here. I'm picking up the strife card then, putting out the fire, and using the on-develop ability to get 2 iron as well. So there are my 2 iron. So and I did use the astronomy. No, well, I didn't use it yet. So the astronomy says when you build a development, you may pay 1 resource of the color that corresponds to the build cost. So that would be blue, the water. So I'm paying 1 to gain 2 gold. That's so nice. So I'm back to 3. If you do discard. So it's used and discarded. That was the whole point of playing either the farm or this. Well, technically I could build a second mausoleum, but I think that's overkill. And with the last movement point, yeah, at that point I should really know what's left in my deck. But again, it's my second playthrough. So let's see, from the basic cards, these are the ones with the black icon. How many greens do I have played? 3. So there should be a green left. The red cards I feel I've played like a lot. Yeah, they're all here. Blue cards, there are 3. So there's also blue left, which should mean there's also a black left. Yeah, so everything but red. The question is, do I have enough culture to, for example, return the strife card? That would be good. And currently, since I'm only drawing 3, there's no reason to discard this. I'm probably buying something. Yeah, I think it's quite obvious. I do need to buy this before it's out of market, and I really want to use it in my last turn to activate another trade deal. Although then it's not running for so long, but I think I have to get it going anyway. I could also buy more cards. This is a huge military card. For 1 food you can get up to 8 of military. That's good. All these level 2 developments are really needing a lot of attribute points to build. This turns another attribute card into one that produces industry, if it's not military. I don't see myself paying to get more culture. Yeah, this is just far too nice. And there's a nice synergy maybe at the end of the game where I can use it instead of technology to ready influence. That sounds quite good as well. It does cost 3, unfortunately, so that would be all my gold. But I'm doing it. I'm buying it, and I don't have a red card left, so I'm not fighting an enemy with 10 combined strength or military. So I'm using my last movement point to go back here, so I will pick up a water at the end of the turn. And I think that's it. That is the end of the turn, so I do get my water. I don't have any influence again. This is really a sad round for influence. Replenishing the market. There's a nice, interesting card that can also ready influence. And the advance action gives you a lot of gold. That would be a way to get gold. And we replenish the development offer with a villa. Gives you a lot of population. Very nice, but I don't have much gold left. Replenishing is done. Draw the new hand. So there's my portable abacus, my green card, my blue card, and my gray card. There is actually some combat power, but yeah, not enough to defeat such an enemy. Alright, this brings me to the active projects phase, where I don't pay for anything, but I do get me a food from my trade agreement. I did not advance the cube here for the turn count, so I'm at turn 5 now. And this is exactly why this will be my last turn, because at the end of the next turn I will advance it to the space with the 1. And once you reach the space with the current round number, the round immediately ends. There is no other turn. So this will be the last one. But it feels quite efficient because I have drawn exactly my cards. That's so nice. I feel like I should probably play the physician with a water for culture and pay off this strife or remove the strife. And actually returning the card to the pile is good, because if the pile is empty, you can also lose the game. And if you trash the strife card, you have to trash it and another one from the pile as a penalty. So you're going faster through the pile. This card is the other one of the Augustus leader, so I've drawn it at the end only, which does allow me to influence the capital regardless of where my leader is. That's good. But I didn't increase my population much yet, so taxing is probably not worthwhile. But purchasing any card from either market for exactly 2 is huge for this leader, because it can mean I can pick up a development card without it circumvents the penalty here. That's actually clarified in FAQ, so that's so nice. But I don't have the stone left because I used it in the last turn. And if I pay a gold, then yeah, if I pick up those. But I could pick up the villa, maybe, for example, because it would usually cost 5. Pick it up for a total cost of 3. I could also spend the influence on a mausoleum to get a stone. That would then be worth 1 gold, basically. But I do need 2 golds still. I do like the idea of getting the villa, even if I'm not buying it right now. No, even if I'm not playing it right now, I mean, because it doesn't need industry, 6 of this. And this would be the card to even get it, so there's no industry left for me. It just means that taxation will be so much nicer. So for 1 strife I can get 3 gold in the capital, and that sounds like a good gold source, but it would not harmonize well with these cards, where I do have to get rid of the strife cards. So maybe I do have to lean a bit into culture, and I should definitely do this probably. Alright, so we will pay a water to power the physician for culture 4 to pay off the strife or to counteract the strife. We are returning it to the pile. Then we do need ourselves some gold. We could try to fight something with the food. We would have 5 military. That's enough to kill this. But we would get 1 strife card, and it kind of feels bad. So I think I'd rather return to the capital. Actually, we do have 3 movement. That's interesting. So I think I have to use this for movement, otherwise I won't move at all. And I'm getting 3 movement. That could allow me to travel here, so up to the Popina here. The idea is if I don't have a gold currently, but whenever you gain an amount of gold, and you always gain it unless where it's specifically excluded, the exchange action. So which means that if I'm then using tax or borrow or something like this, I can actually get another gold for any 2 resources, and I could pay the iron for this. Yeah, but I don't have a gold. I need a gold to get it started. I don't have by far enough resources to do this. So I think I want to spend the food to power this for 7 technology. That gives me another nice trade deal. With the foreign trade, I can put it wherever I like. Seriously considering going for food again, seeing that I need that much for Trajan's market. And I seem to paying a lot of food for other stuff. So I think I will do that. It's a bit sad that I only get it for 1 turn this round, but it will be available in the next round right away. Use this card to its maximum effect. So I do get a food. Now with the movement, I will definitely go back to the capital for 2. Play an influence there. I do need gold and I have only 1 population, so I will take up another loan. These might come back to bite me, but I'm too tempted to take the villa now. So I do get a loan with 2 gold. I'm using the influence on the mausoleum to also get a stone. So this is a produce action. And I can use the stone here for industry. And I can purchase any card from either market for exactly 2. So I'm paying this. And I'm picking up the villa. I can take it to hand, will clog up my hand, but yeah, I don't want to make it an active project because I don't have the money to support that. Maybe that's not the right play. Well, whatever cards lying here, I won't be able to play them, but the art would have been really nice. If your leader is on development that provides stability, so that would be the mausoleum. Spend up to 6 industry, gaining 1 gold for every 2. So the combination would have been insane, but unfortunately these will all be gone. Let's stick to it. We pick up the villa. We are not placing it here, so we have to draw it, so it's a bit of a chance when it comes up. We do have 4 industry technically, so we could cycle cards, but that's pointless at the end of the round. Maybe I should pick up the bridge because it needs, I think that's much better, unfortunately. This is so good, the villa. But if I pick up this instead, so I can pick up whatever I like because it's costing 2 only. But the 4 industry is exactly what I need to place this. And it would be a source of iron if I ever need that. And starting from there gives me a lot of movement. Yeah, I should be efficient and use the bridge instead. I'm still not sure that the population play with the taxing is a good idea with these edicts here. So let's place this. So I'm taking this to my active area. I do have the 4 industry that I need because of the discount of Augustus. So I can place that right away. And I think I will place that here. So I'm picking up another strife cup and also putting out another fire. And this will give me 2 water on development. So I do get my water back, which is nice. And I do have a nice bridge here, which gives me 3 glory points. And 1 capacity, which doesn't do anything currently, but it's still nice to have. And I do have 1 movement left, and I do have an influence left, but I can't influence the bridge because it costs stone as well. So what do I do with my last movement point? It is tempting to go to the bridge. I don't see myself influencing the capital again. I really need to get my gold elsewhere. The mausoleum is a bit sad that I don't have the influence again. If I really want to go for more fighting, and I do have a lot of food, so I have 2 trade agreements for food, I think I should activate the mausoleum again. I can't do that now because it's already spent there, but I can't use this anyway. So I'm using the last movement to go back to the mausoleum to be in position to influence it right away at the beginning of the next round. Alright, so this concludes the first round. We still go through this. There's no resting bonus. I would get these back. Well, I do get these back. I am discarding played cards, but replenishing market feels odd at that point because those will be cycled out anyway, and the FAQ clarifies that you are not doing this because it's quite pointless. And I'm not drawing a new hand anyway, and the advancement of the cube is pointless because we already were in the last turn. So, but technically this goes here, and there's another reason why this round will end. Which brings us to the end of the round. So we shuffle the discard pile into your new starting deck. I fear that there are a lot of cards like Strife, Loan, Strife, Loan, and another Strife. So it's 3 Strifes, 3 Loans. That can be a problem. I fear. We have to think about how to deal with this. We don't have a money engine yet. Not sure if we will get one this game. Okay, but we are shuffling this into a new pile. This is our new draw deck. Then we're advancing the round counter. So we are now in round 2 and resetting the turn counter, of course. Then we're cycling all development and attribute cards in the market and replenish. Cycling means that you take them in any order. I don't want to be tactical about it, so I'm shuffling them. And then they are going below the deck and we reveal a new offer. There's the Oxen that allows you to trash loans. That could be interesting, although it does trash also cards from this pile, but there are a few. So I think it's a good way to get rid of loans. A siege tower. Ballista, okay. The 10th ladder is a really good technology card, and a water wheel. The developments are also all cycled, and since we are neither in round 3 nor do we have placed 5 developments yet, so we can only use level 1 developments, but I think that's fine. The others are far too expensive for us. So there's an obelisk, another bridge, an aqueduct, a domus. This is one of these developments that must be adjacent to development that produces food or water. So that's nice because we already have that. And it also gives us population. And another aqueduct. Exhaust or expire active trade agreements. So for the long-lasting agreements, they are then turned to the side that marks that they are ending, but they are still active in a sense. So you still get the benefit. And at the end of the next round, they will move to the center, so you don't have a benefit, but the marker is blocked on the space, and you will only get it back if you develop that territory. For this kind of short-term deal, it will end the agreement right away. So you will get your 2 resources, and it will move to the center right away. So there's no way to do any other trade with this until you develop it, but then of course you can't trade as well. And for those that give you 1 resource now and 1 at the start of the next round, you will place it there at the next round, then turn it and put it to the center right away as an end of the agreement. Alright, so this leaves us, or brings us to our first turn. Do draw. This is also not like very clean in these helping cards here, but the FAQ is quite clear about it at the beginning of the round here, and you draw a new hand. So we still have a hand limit of 5, so only 5 cards. There's a loan right away, musician, a strive right away, a pottery, and a battering ram. I don't have active projects, but I do have active agreements, so I do get 2 food. That's so nice. But I'm nowhere near paying this, so yeah. I do have my eye on this Oxen here to get rid of the loan. So maybe I should hold on to this and buy this. For the strive, I don't think I have culture. Well, I would have culture here, but then again it's inefficient because it's producing 8 and I only need 4. I could use this, but if I discard it, I can't return it. The battering would actually give me a stone. That's nice. So the first order of business should be to get gold because I'm at 0 currently, and without this I can't buy any of these cards or do any development. So I should probably start with influencing the mausoleum to get the honor the fallen active again. So it's a while influenced ability. So now my combat strength is much higher, and I do have a battering ram and I do have iron. So I'm at 8 combined if I power this. And this is a 9 enemy. That sounds like it matches up. So I definitely want to hold on to this. I think it's the pottery that has to go then. So we play this for movement. So we are at movement 3 currently. Do I want to end the movement there? Then I would have 2 movement left to go elsewhere before. But do I want to influence the capital? I think not really. I think I'd rather move on after this, seeing what this enemy is, and bring myself into position. So let's use 1 movement to go there, do a conquer action, use a food for 3 and an iron for another 5, that's 8. Also gain stone equal to the number of strives in hand, so that's 1. So this is then played, and with 6 we defeat this, and the other 2 we fend off the attack, so we do get 2 glory points and 3 gold. That's so nice. Unfortunately, the territory has nothing to, well, no reason to stay, but we do have 2 movement points left. And I do think I want to hold on to all of this and see what I draw. I can't do an exchange here to use this, producing a stone. I mean, we could produce a stone and just ready it again, but I don't think that's a good use for this. I think I'm playing quite slow. I'm planning also to buy a card, so I want to buy the Oxen to get rid of the loan. That was the whole point. And we do need 2 stone or 2 iron to trash this. So maybe we do play this not for culture, but to just get a stone. We would draw more cards, but then again, I do want to draw more cards to get another strive to make this worthwhile. And if I now use it, it's pointless. So I could just discard this. If I'm using this, I should discard this, I guess. Yeah, I think I will hold on to it for a turn. It might be too slow, but we do have up to 6 turns. I do have all these trade agreements currently going. Let's see what happens. So let's use the last move before it vanished. So let's see what the enemy is. So it's another 9 enemy. That's a bit tough. This one is much easier with 7. So I think I will move there because I don't have a battering ram. So I will probably end up short if I'm trying this. So yeah, I'm using the 2 movement to move there. So this will also be discarded. Well, I could, of course, buy more cards. I do have 2 gold left. Then I wouldn't know what I draw. So I definitely wouldn't draw another Strife alone. Trashing a card in my hand, I don't see yet why I would do that. I could trash the Strife, of course. That might be an idea. But I think I can do that later when the card is cheaper. So yeah, I'm leaving it at this because it will get cheaper and I don't think I should just spend my gold. I need that. Yeah, so let's end the turn. There's no resting. There's no spend influence. I'm replenishing the market. So much military cards are coming up. The ballista would be nice if I had any wisdom, but currently wisdom is not my strong suit here. All right, I'm drawing up to 5. So there's the Oxen and there's a Physician. Okay. That would also be a way to get rid of a 1 Strife at least, because we do have water. So we advance the turn count. I don't have any active projects, but I do get my 2 food that I get. And we are in a second turn. So I do want to play the Oxen to trash the loan. That's the plan here. If I power it, I could trash up to 2, but I don't have them. Hand or discard pile is nice, but I don't have any discard pile. So it would just make it more expensive. 2 technology is not much. Maybe I can bump it up to 5. That would give me a short-term deal, a nice one. And since I do need another stone or iron, and I don't want to spend the influence on the mausoleum, well, I could ready it. So yeah, this would be a play, but it doesn't feel right to play that now. We don't have a combat card to really go for these enemies now. The obelisk is something that I should really take a look at because it does give me power. It does not increase my hand limit right away, but it also gives me stability. The aqueduct would be something that's good to build, but I don't have a farm yet. Well, it also works with this. Well, I don't need to use everything from this, so a milling support would already mean that I can spend 2 technology, like I'm doing with the Oxen, and pay 1 food to get a gold. That would be a gold source, and if I get around to activate this, I can then start a 2-1 trade of gold. But what about the trade deals? I should really get them going, but it's somewhat backwards. If I have to power this, I have to pay it right away, I think. I cannot just use this, get a trade deal, get a resource, and then use this. Okay, so I think I'm using a water here to power the Physician to get 3 technology, and then just use the trade deal, the short-term trade deal here, which gives me 2 stone, and the agreement ends right away. So we turn it over and place it in the middle, but we do get 2 stone. That exhausts this card. And although this might hurt like not just a little but a lot, I think I will play or pay 1 food to also get a better ability from the Oxen to get 5 technology, and then just play the Musician face down for 1. That's why it pains me so much that it's 6 technology, so we can get one of the nice trade deals. And I'm paying 3 stone to then trash the loan, which means we pick up another loan from the pile, and these 2 go to the discard over here, or the trash bin. But the 6th technology allows me to pick up one of the nicer deals, and again, with foreign trade, we can just pick whatever we like. We can go for the water deal, the stone deal, iron deal, yet another iron deal, so there's, I think, enough options. We have already played our water cards, or at least half of the starting ones. Not much else, I don't think it matters too much. But what to take here? I think I want to fight a lot, so maybe iron would be good. Because clearing all this with Augustus, with the benefit and having the mausoleum, I think that's a good goal source. I think I'm going for an iron deal, which would mean here or there. I can't develop it unless I want to end the deal, that's the problem, so I'm blocking that space, which is probably the reason to go here. So I do get my first iron right away, and I think I'm still holding on to this Strife card. I'm still not in a hurry, although this was already my 2nd turn. Do I want to buy something? Actually, I think I want to do that. Get rid of the siege tower here, and trashing might not even be the worst with Strife. So let's do that. Then we do not have a resting bonus. We did not use our influence again. We replenished the market. There's quite a flexible card here, which provides 6 industry or military. But yeah, so this allows us to finally draw 4 cards at least from my deck. So we do get the siege tower, and we do reveal the astronomy, which I do like. Another gold source, so hopefully we can get that gold going. We advance the turn marker, so that's the 3rd turn now. Don't have active projects, but we do get 2 food and 1 iron, because we have 3 long-term deals going now. And we don't have any markers left because the 4th one was the short-term that's already expired. And we do need 2 stability to even get our 5th one. Maybe at the end of the round we should really build over this or develop over this so we get this back. Let's see. Battling the enemy we are currently sitting would take 3 military to defeat or to conquer and 3 more to avoid any damage. That would be 1 food and then 3 military. And we could think about trashing not a strive, but because if we trash anything else we will get a resource of the same color. But I don't think that's good, so I think I'd rather do this. But it would leave us 1 short if we don't power this. It's or trash a card. So if we power this, we can do this and trash a card. So that's worth it. So let's spend the food for 3 military because of the mausoleum. And then 1 iron to also power the siege tower for another 4. That's 7. It takes 7, actually only 6, but it's more than enough. You may trash a card in your hand, so I'm trashing the strive. And again, we take 1 from the pile here, also trashing this. So this card is then played. The enemy is defeated, which gives us a glory point and 3 gold. So what else to do in the turn? I definitely want to play the astronomy, I think, to get rid of it from my hand. And I can't use the advanced thing again. And I don't see me using it for anything else. So I will put it in the play area, and we should think about what we actually want to do. What building do we or what development do we want to take? Probably not another bridge. To build the obelisk we would need military, and the ballista is really not helping if you would buy that. Actually we should maybe play the senator to cycle a card that costs up to 2 to cycle, and any other card from the market to get rid of stuff that we really don't want, and we just hold on to this, I think. Or maybe we are using this to move to get some influence going, and probably that's a good idea. Yeah, I like that. So let's play 3 move. And with the 3 move, I think I will go to the bridge, use the mausoleum to get a stone, and then influence the bridge where I must pay a stone as maintenance cost. But it now means that if I'm starting movement on the bridge, it will give me +3. But more importantly, I can also get 2 iron at any point if I spend the influence. And with the remaining 2, I'm going here, spending my last influence here, which means I have to pay a gold again as a cost to even start influencing. But now if I just leave it here, I get 1 more gold if I pay 2 of the same resource. So very efficient exchange when I gain any gold from somewhere else. That exhausts my movement. And I think I will also play this for 2 industry to cycle something, and I'm cycling any other card from the market. So this is hard to cycle because I let it drop down here, so I will use this for the other effect to cycle the ballista. And then for 2 I can only pick this row or upwards, and I do think I will get rid of the bridge because I don't see me building another one. So these 2 I will cycle, and I don't have any cards left. I don't think I have any APs left. I do have gold left, but the point was to let this stuff come down before I'm buying. So I'm not buying anything now, and finally I can draw up for a lot more cards. So no resting, unfortunately. I do have a spend influence from the mausoleum that I get back. I'm replenishing the market, so the 10th ladder is really interesting for 1 now. But we do have all our trade deals that we currently support. So there's an industry card, might be interesting. But I do have my eye on the Domus with the 2 population here. And there's another aqueduct. I'm still drawing to 5, so show of force alone, unfortunately. A strive, unfortunately. An engineer that will help, and a chariot. We advanced the turn counter, so we did not exhaust our deck, and the turn counter is now at 4. So we do have 3 turns left, this one and the next 2. So I think we can play a bit faster now, or we should. Getting 2 power would also be advisable to increase our hand size. Also the obelisk looks more and more interesting. Alright, so active projects, we don't have any, but we do have the astronomy here. But we do have a lot of trades, so 2 food, 1 iron. I am tempted to play the chariot for movement because it would give us movement 5, so we could really go everywhere, and I think we should do that. We should really get the mausoleum exchange action going to get other resources, and then actually the astronomy would also allow us to use this ability. Activating this was really nice. Maybe we should really think about what to develop here. So the obelisk would take 6, we have 4 here, and this would be another 2. So we could actually build that, but the aqueduct would be the same price, and we do have a card that gives us technology. But I like that I can bump up the power by 1. But then again, there's no other source of power currently, so it doesn't do much for us. So starting on a wisdom might also be good to get more influence tokens. And the aqueduct is actually a way to gain gold from food, which is good. I think I'm going with the aqueduct. This also means that I can pay food for the astronomy, but then again we do have enough iron to pay this as well. We have to get the gold engine going, so this would be an opportunity already where we gain gold, where so we can pay 2 of another resource, gain 1 more, but the aqueduct would also be another gold source. Maybe we leave the mausoleum B for this for the time being and go with the aqueduct. Yes, okay. So that would be 3 gold to actually get it. So we pick that up. We do need 5 technology. And I am tempted to hold on to the engineer for something more problematic to build and just use this face down and pay a food for the chariot. So it's 5 technology. That's enough. And we do build this adjacent to the Popina because it can produce food and it can produce 1 more food then, if we ever use this for food. But we might want to because of the Trajan's market. So I think I'm putting that here, get the 3 glory points and 1 wisdom. Doesn't do anything yet, but there are more wisdom cards coming up. Well, these are all aqueducts. And since we do have the astronomy here, we do pay another food because it's green to get 2 gold. But then this gambling ability comes in whenever you gain any amount of gold, pay 2 same type resource to gain another gold. So I think I'm paying the iron because I need a lot of food to get another gold. And we do have to think about these here. But let's discard this first. This was all used. I think I will just toss the strife because I do want to draw cards. But I'm tempted to just pay back the loan now. It will reset my gold, but we can go on with producing gold again next turn because we do have some kind of engine running now. So I do pay this. Maybe it's a mistake, but I'm paying this back, so it goes back to the pile. And we are back to 1 card. Is it worth it to just use this for movement after all? I think we only have 2 turns left after this one, and we have a large pile, so maybe this is not good to hold on to. So I do think I will move. That's 3. So I'm moving once to the aqueduct to influence it right away. But I don't think I will use it for milling support because I want to move on, and then I would have to replace it. With any chance I can use it and use the card I picked up to ready or to refresh the influence token. So I think I want to move on. Actually, since I have already an influence here, I should have known what this enemy is, so I did not reveal that. So it's one that only costs 5 because it doesn't have any attack. Because I do have 2 movement left, and I could either stay on the bridge, so to get a +3 movement when I move away from this. Yeah, I probably want to do that. It wastes 1 movement point, but then again, if I start from here, I will be able to move much further. So we are not using the last movement point, but we did play all of our cards. This was also discarded once I used it, which is a nice turn. I don't have any gold left, so there's no option to buy anything. I'm not resting. I did not use my influence. I'm not getting anything back. We do replenish the market. There's a watchtower, and now that's nice, because it means the attack value of the enemies is not used. Of adjacent spaces, if I build it here, these 2 won't have their attack count, and it's a way to produce gold. And it gives 2 power, which is the hand limit capacity I'm looking for. But I don't have any gold yet, so after replenishing, I'm drawing a new hand. So all nice and usable cards, that's nice. And here is the card that I was talking about that I can ready influence. So if I'm moving away now, I can use them and ready them again. So I don't need to go there to keep it. That's really, really, really nice. All right, that was drawing. So now we are in turn 5, second to last turn. I don't have any active projects again, but I do have agreements. So I do get 2 food and 1 iron. This is my 5th turn then, start of it. Without the mausoleum, killing these enemies is really not that easy. We could play these 2 to kill this enemy, that would be good. Well, it only needs 5, so it would be a slight waste. But I should really get this engine going here, so I would like to use the milling support. But I do need 2 technology for this. Maybe I just spend the water here. I do have too many cards in my deck, far too many. So 2 more cards than I actually draw up to. So even if without buying anything, I won't see them all. Maybe using the orator to draw cards would be good, and I could even discard a red one. Maybe this, because it costs too much cards. So I could play these 2 to draw 3 and see what I will end up with. It would cost me the last water I have, but I really want to go through my deck. Might be a mistake, but I'm doing it. So draw 2 cards, discard a red card to instead draw 3. So I'm discarding the discipline. It's a nice card, but it costs too many cards, and I'm starved for cards without the hand limit increase. So drawing 3, there's a civil war unfortunately, and 2 of the black cards. So the civil war must be played immediately, but I do think I'm ignoring the basic action to pick up another loan. Well, I just paid back 1. Is this nice? But I would have to discard this, and I'm ending up with 4 cards again, so I'm starved for actions. Well, the loans are not a victory condition, and I do need gold, so I think I will do this. I'm not sure if I already paid this. I didn't pay attention and I don't want to stop the recording now, so let's just pay it again. I hope this doesn't make a huge difference. Probably it will, but I'm paying this to pick up a loan, but I do get 2 gold and then the civil war is taken care of. You always have to do that first. So we end up with 5 cards again. I do have a problem with my influence that I have placed them and I can't really use them now, and I don't have any in the reserve, so I can't activate anything else, so I should really get rid of them. But the bridge would give me 2 iron. It's nice, but it's nothing too good currently. The aqueduct has the problem that to use the milling support, I do have to have 2 technology, but I could get 2 gold because of the active ability of gambling. But I would have to pay a lot of resource, but it would give me gold. And using this means I'm losing the gold engine. I could use them and then ready them again, but to what end? So I'm really thinking about if I should leave them be and just use them now. So I can at least in my last turn spend them again on different things like the mausoleum, because I did want to go on conquering, but I can't without the bonus. Because I left the influence, or I used the influence there and never put it back. And just with these cards, it's a bit hard. So these are need 5, for example. So I can play this, boost it, and play another card. So it would be possible. So I would need movement and then 2 other cards. So this one and one face down. And I think I do want to play all my cards anyway, because I still have 4 cards left. So I might hold on to one, but more than that is quite wasteful. And maybe I want to pick up another card. I feel like this is a good card for me because I do have a lot of food and it's quite a flexible card with high values on it. So I do think I will pop this now and won't get gold from it. I probably have to fight, but the idea is that I can get 2 food from this if I produce food. Adjacent development that produce food produce 1 more, so I can produce 2. And since I do not have water, I will probably just use this as well to get a water. And maybe I then using 1 food to play this card to ready to influence, so I get them back. Idea being that I do now have the water, that I would need to produce some technology. So maybe I'm paying that now for 3 technology. So I'm spending that influence. I can do the milling support. I have 2 technology, I have even 3. Pay 1 food. And I do gain a gold, and I do gain another one from gambling if I'm paying 2 of another resource. And I think I'm paying the iron then, or do I? I think I'd rather pay the food. I do need a lot of food at the end of the game. That's the problem here. So maybe I do leave this here to have the gold engine still available, but do spend the bridge now. Maybe that's the way to do it. But that would mean I get 2 iron, so I think I'd rather hold on to the food and spend the iron. This was played. I do have 1 technology left, but I don't think that matters. So I think I want to move and do the battle. That's probably a good idea. So let's do the move, and I'm on the bridge, so that counts as 3 plus 3, so that's 6 movement. And I will then use the influence on the bridge to get iron, because I really want that influence marker back. And then with 1 movement I'm going here. That dials it down to 5. I will see this enemy. That's an enemy that needs 9. That's not good. So I think I will now pay 1 iron to power the probatus for 4 military, and I will play this face down for 5. And with Augustus that's enough to kill this or to conquer it. So there's no glory points but 2 gold. So I'm at 6 now, and I do have 5 movement left, and I think I want to go back to the mausoleum to activate it again to battle these more tough enemies. So 1, 2, 3 to go here. I don't have any influence, so it's 2 movement left, and leaving this here is probably a good idea, because I don't want to spend another gold to activate it again. And I do not currently think that when I ready an influence, like with these 2, which I have just done, they will not re-trigger the when influenced abilities again. It's just readying the influence that was already there. Otherwise it would be quite painful. I hope I did not play that wrong. So I will not use the last movement, which also means this card is played. And I should really buy something, because I only have 4 cards left, 1 turn left, so I can buy something and use it right away. And I do have a lot of gold, so maybe getting to the Watchtower. The Watchtower would be insane for this enemy. And it gives me 2 power, which is a hand limit, so it's a desirable card. And for this I need military, so maybe picking this up would be a good idea. Again, I should probably know what these cards are. So there is a show of force left, at least this much is clear, which gives 4 military, so it's almost enough to build this. So yeah, I don't think I should go out of my way to pick that up. I can pick that up in the next turn if I want to. Don't let it go to waste, but I will just spend 1 gold to pick up the 10th letter, because it's just a far too flexible card, and maybe it allows me to get rid of a strife. I probably have 1 left as well in these cards, so this goes on top. I'm again not resting, unfortunately. I do get these influences back, that was the point. So I can't spend them again. I'm replenishing the market. Draw my new hand, so I do get a 10th letter right away. There's a show of force, write the first card. a strife that might be useful to get rid of. Then my other leader card again at the bottom, but it's really huge because I can pick up the watchtower then for just 2 if I can come up with a stone, and unfortunately loan. But maybe that's an opportunity to pay back the loan. Let's see. So we advanced the turn cube. So it's now on the space with 1, but we are in round 2, so it's not ending the round. But the round will end after this turn because I've exhausted my draw deck, even if I buy something now. Which brings us to the active projects phase. And I do get a final time these 2 food, but the food source is running dry. And I do get an iron. But I really have to think about how I will do this. Maybe with this combination here. But it does cost a lot of gold, unfortunately. But I can double produce with the aqueduct. But maybe there are some farms coming up after all. So, final turn. I do want to build a watchtower to disable these attacks and get 2 power to increase my hand limit. I think that's a very nice combo. But I don't think I can use this turn to battle, because I will need to show force to even build it. Which also means that I do not need the mausoleum active, and once I have the watchtower, I only need 4 and 7 to defeat them. No, even 3 and 6. So I don't even need the help of the mausoleum. This is why I think I will influence it and flip it right away to get a stone. Because then I can pay this one here, the stone, to power the Princeps Civitatis, get 4 industry, and purchase any card from the market for exactly 2. So I'm going down to 3, and I'm purchasing the watchtower development. We have to keep that here because we do have the industry, which again might be arguable that I'm not going for the domus because it's already 4 industry, but I really want to do this because of the power. So I do need an iron to get 4 from the show of force for military, but I do need 5. So I do need to pay to, where do I get this? Problem is if I also get rid of this, then there's again a way to repay the strife. I'm just lacking the card. It's 1 point off. Well, it's no use. I will have to play that like this to get a 5 military, so I can place the watchtower. I will definitely put that here, get 3 glory points, and a power of 2, increasing my hand size for the last round. This is then all played. Industry is only useful for cycling, which at that point doesn't do anything for me, so I think I will also discard this. This probably also works with gaining gold from killing enemies, so next round we can make really good use of this. I can't move, unfortunately, because I don't have a card left, and I can't influence the mausoleum again. I do think I will pay off the loan. Might be expensive, but what can you do? Can't do anything with this. And that, unfortunately, is it for the second round. No resting bonus, but I do get this token back, and I'm still sitting on a mausoleum, so I can influence it right away. I'm not replenishing the market, not drawing, and advancing the cube will not do anything. So we shuffle the discard pile. Let's see what the situation is first. So we have a loan, a strife, another strife, but that's it. That's nice. So we got rid of most of these things. At the end of the game, to solve this edict, we must have a maximum of 3 strifes. So if we develop here, it will be the third one. So if we don't get another one, this will be fine. In the last turn, I did want to spend 3 food to get working on this, because we really have to get going here. So this is done, and we need another 10 food. And unfortunately, these now expire. And to fulfill this edict, we just have to develop there as well. And then this will be done as well. And this is 20 points in total, which we already have, but we might have negative points here. But I think it's with a full round ahead of us, this is really easily achievable. So famous last words. Let's see. So this is our deck. The round marker goes to 3, so now we definitely have access to level 2 developments. But I think we already also have 5 developments, so activated both kind of at the same time. And we reset the turn marker. We cycle all of this. So again, cycling means putting it under the deck. And I should probably not put level 2 developments here, because I do want to pick up farms, for example. Let's see what happens with the first one. It's a sculpture. That's not helping me gain food. A fountain that gives water by spending food. There's another sculpture. And finally a farm, where you can spend industry to gain food, but it can also produce food. And I think I will draw 1 level 2 at the spot up here, because it will be expensive anyway, and if I get my leader card, I might be able to buy it just for 2. So let's see what it is. It's a temple that gives stability and wisdom. Costs 11 technology, which I might be able to come up with because I picked up quite a few technology cards, good ones. And once per turn, influence up to 2 adjacent developments sounds really good. And if you use the boosted action of a red card this turn, pay 1 water to use it a second time. Wow, interesting. It doesn't give a lot of glory points. There are buildings or developments that give a lot more. But then again, it's easier to build. So there are others that really cost a lot more. All right, this was cycling and refresh of the market. Then we have to exhaust this, unfortunately. So these just scroll to the middle here. So I don't get them back. And this one flips, so I still get my iron, but I'm no longer in supply of food. So we draw a first hand. This time it's 6 cards. No loan or strife yet. And we don't have active projects, but we check our agreements, so we do get an iron. So it's our first turn now. There's an interesting trade card that can swap out 5 resources for others. So that could mean I could get more food to get this done, because this is really the only thing that I really have to fulfill besides putting a development there. I think I want to influence the mausoleum because I'm still here, and it will help with this battle here, because I can ignore the attack, but it's still a defense of 6. So with a food it will only be 3. That's exactly what I have to pay here as well. And I can at least get a stone later or do one exchange where I do get 2 resources of another type. The sculpture actually is a building that gives me food or water once I get stone or iron. So I can do that even with the trade, but unfortunately with the trade it means that I have to have the influence token at the end of my turn. And in the cleanup phase I will get this, I will use this, so it will be spent and I won't get it back because this is out of order here. So it's really inefficient to use that with trade. So if you get it from someplace else, like from the mausoleum for example, it's much easier to use. But it also gives me stability, which might give me another trade route later if I get another stability somewhere, for example by another sculpture. I think I want to get fighting, and probably I can defeat them both in the same turn, because it's a combined defense of 9 that I have to break, 3 plus 6. And I do have the mausoleum that can provide up to 6. So whatever I can produce, 3 or 6, that would be good. If I power this, that's 6 already if I drop this. So that's probably a good idea. Then I only need the mausoleum once. It costs me only 1 food. So I could pay this, power the discipline, discard a red attribute card to gain 6 military. So if I have 6 military now. This is not helpful because I don't have a loan in hand. But maybe I should keep it at least for 1 turn to see if I draw one. Or maybe I would even want to pick one up. Unfortunately, 1 movement doesn't allow me to visit both, so I would have to pay 2 movement, or 2 cards for movement. This is also something that I might want to hold on to, because I can produce 2 food here if once I influence the aqueduct again. So maybe these are the cards that I'm now using for movement. Let's start with the merchant for 3, and I'm using 2 movement to move here. So with the 6 military, I can just defeat it because it's -1 due to Augustus, and the attack is ignored to the watchtower. Well, actually I do have to influence the watchtower. I forgot that. With the 2 movement, I'm crossing the watchtower, so I can influence on the way through, because it's a when influenced ability of Vigilant. So I have to activate that to make it work, but I can ignore the attack of 2 now. And the 6 military together with the bonus Agrippa of Augustus, I can just defeat her. That's 2 glory points and 3 gold. And we do actually see the last enemy. It is quite easy to defeat actually, because it's at 4, so 3 defense and 1 attack. So 1 more point would already do it if I spend the mausoleum. It actually sits on a resting bonus of For the Glory of Rome, where I can trash a strife, but I do think it's just from hand. Yeah, so unfortunately, unless I'm picking one up now, this doesn't do anything for me to rest there. I'm not sure if it's worthwhile to even defeat this enemy, so I think I will stick with the original plan. I have 1 movement left, but I need 2 to even reach this enemy, but I can get into position. So let's move here. That exhausts this card. These 6 military we already used completely for the enemy. So I'm using this to move now, which gives me another 3. Dial it down to 2. Move here. We're then paying a food with the mausoleum to get 3. We only need 4. Augustus gives us the -1 on the defense. The attack is completely ignored because of the watchtower. And we are defeating this enemy, which gives us 2 glory points and another 3 gold. And I did forget to use this ability twice now. So I could turn any other resource into gold. But I'm just realizing that I don't have any other resource. Well, I do have food, but I really need this for this. So it's not actually a good idea to do this. I think I'm just not using it, unfortunately. Alright, so I have 2 movement left. I'm not sitting on a space that gives me any resting bonus. So where do I go? I think I should go in the vicinity of these cards to actually get the engine going again with the food. So let's move back into the bridge. That exhausts my movement. Maybe I want to influence the bridge again to get 2 iron later and maybe make a good movement. So I'm holding on to these, I think. There's no hurry yet, it's the first turn. I do have a lot of gold, so what do I buy? I think I will at least just pick up the chariot racing, maybe to just ready an influence, and it allows me to get rid of a strife card as well. And 6 industry might be interesting, but there's nothing to buy with industry currently. But maybe do a big cycling turn, but it's just the cheapest card here. Do we also pick up the trade? Again, I don't think we should play too fast. It's the first turn, so let's end the turn, no resting bonus. Do I want to spend the influence on the mausoleum? Because I don't see myself making an exchange this round. So I rather use it for produce and get my influence back. So I think I'm doing that. Getting 1 stone. Oh, actually, it stays there until the end of turn, but I'm currently in the end of turn mode, so I will get rid of this anyway. The watchtower does not need to be active anymore, and I can pay 1 iron, 1 water to gain gold. Together with this could give me a lot of gold, but I don't have a water yet. I think I'm leaving it there for a moment instead of just getting an iron. Alright, so this was this. Then I replenish the market, draw my new hand, and up to 6. There is a strife already, okay. And we are now second turn. Don't have active projects, but we do have an agreement active, I think. Yeah, we get an iron. Alright, let's go to the food production. This is, as I said, a good combination for getting rid of the strife. If I do have a stone age, which I do, but I can also ready an influence, so I want to make sure I spend that wisely. And I think I want to go to the aqueduct to use this and ready it again to get 2 food. So I do need a card for movement. And I think I have enough technology, so I might use the chariot plus 1 movement. So that would be movement 4. If I power it with a food, but it sounds counterproductive, I would even get 1 more, so 4. But I'm flipping it down to 3 to go to the aqueduct right away. Place my influence here. This allows me to use this influence to produce. And with an adjacent development that produces food, get 1 food. So I'm irrigating this to get 2 food then from the production. And then I'm using my stone to power the chariot racing, get 4 culture, pay back the strife or handle the strife, and ready this influence, so I can do that again. This leaves me with 3 movement and these cards. And I think I really want to get this farm going here. And I can't cycle it down fast enough, so I think I have to pay the 4 gold to pick it up as Augustus. And I do need 5 technology, which the Oxen provides me if I pay a food. Again, slightly counterproductive, but it's 5 influence. No, 5 technology. And with the 5 technology I can build the farm. And I definitely want to build it besides the aqueduct. But the nice thing is that gives me back my token here for a trade deal. And I do get 1 glory point and a wisdom, which also gives me another influence marker. So that's really nice. So I can actually spend these 2 here. And I do think I want to use another movement to actually move to the farm. Put an influence here. The seasonal rains mean that I can spend 2 industry to gain a food, which I will do now by paying this. So I get a food. And I can do either of 2 things now, I think. I can either use this for 7 technology to activate another deal, which will run for the remainder of that round. So it will be 3 or 4 or so resources. Well, if I play all the turns, it will be even 5. Or I can use this card to ready these 2 and use them before. So they both produce food, but they are connected to an influenced aqueduct. So they're irrigated, which means I would produce 4 food and I can then just use 1 food to ready them again. And I think that's just too good. So I will hold on with this and I will spend this and this for a combined food of 4, so that's 8. I will then pay these 4 to actually continue with Trajan's market. So I need another 6 to fulfill this edict. And it's far too tempting to use the food to power this to ready to influence. I'm readying them again. This is this. And I don't see a reason not to spend it again. So I get it back. So this is 2 food then. Do I want to leave this here? There's no rush unless I want this token back. But with 2 industry, when influencing the farm again, at least I will get another food, so that's useful. I currently don't have a way to get water, so that's kind of pointless. Maybe I should really build a fountain, but I do have to remember to build something here to get the last strife card out and fulfill this edict here. I do think I want to spend the last gold to pick that up at least. This sounds useful. The watchtower ability is quite pointless and, well, I might get water when I build a fountain. Maybe I leave it be. The question is always, where do I even put this? And I will get 1 token back. Let's leave it at that. And this also means probably that I will not move away here. So I won't use these 2 movement. I think I'm just staying at the farm here. So the chariot didn't actually do that much for me when it comes to movement. All Alright, so this I have to take care of next turn. I don't have any gold left, so that's the end of the turn. No resting. I do get this token back. Replenishing the market means this all goes down one step. I think I will reveal another level 2 at the most costly space, which is another temple, okay. I did not reveal a card here. The Longship, okay. And I'm drawing a new hand of 6. So unfortunately we have drawn the Civil War. I was happy about the Engineer, but we have also drawn the Civil War, so I cannot discard a red card. So I would have to discard 2 other cards. Or I'm using a food to pick up another loan and get some gold. Maybe that's not the worst. I think I have more than enough glory points to not have these 3 meta. So I think I will pay a food to keep my cards and again pick up another loan. But it does give me 2 gold. And technically this also means I'm gaining gold and I still have the gambling active. So I think I will pay the iron here to get yet another gold from gambling. I think this turns out quite well. We advanced the turn marker after drawing. So we are now in turn 3 and we do get our agreement income. So we do get an iron back. And I do think I want the fountain to really get some resource production going, that I can actually use the trade here. That would be so nice. I can actually put the fountain here to get this token back as well. I currently don't have that much technology, or like not at all. So this doesn't help. The strife would be nice to repay. Let's see, if I pay the 3 gold, because it's more expensive due to Augustus, I can pick up the fountain and I would only need 2 culture to build it. If I want also to do this, I would need 6 culture. This could produce 5, but it would take 2 water, which I want to get from the fountain. So a little bit of a cycle here, but I do have the engineer. So maybe I'm just using this when building a development, pay 1 of any type of resource to gain 2 of the type I need, so I can get 2 culture. So I'm paying an iron. Actually, at that point, I think I only need 6 more food, and I do have an engine with the farm, so I think I'm just paying the food here. So I do get 2 culture from the engineer, which allows me to build the fountain. So I get this token back, do get 2 glory points and another wisdom. And now I might regret that I only have 1 influence point left, so I'm not influencing the farm, I think, because I do want to get the fountain going. It's adjacent to development that produces water. That was important. Up to twice per turn you may pay 1 food to gain 3 water, so I can get a lot of water. This I should really hold on to, as with this. So I think I have to pay the pottery. Unfortunately, not to get rid of the strife, but for movement. That's 3 movement. And I will move to the fountain to influence it. So I have the reflect ability available. Up to 2 per turn. Twice per turn I can pay a food to gain 3 water. So I will do that twice to gain 6 water. That's so insane. Okay. That would be the perfect card to hold on to it for water, but what can you do? Well, I could spend another card, but I think the trade is exactly what I wanted, that I can also now turn the water into something else. So draw a card or pay up to 5 resource to gain 5 resource of any type. So I want to pay this water here, so down to 1 to get at least 1 stone, which I need to power this. I can now use this card to gain a gold, and with this ability another gold if I pay for resources. So I should probably, well, the water I can get back just from food, so using the fountain again. So what else do I get except the stone? So probably more stone, more iron, because these are harder to come by. Let's go with more stone and more iron. So 2 of those and 3 of those in total, which does mean I can now use the watchtower ability to pay 1 iron and 1 water to gain a gold, and then use the gambling to pay 2 stone to get another gold. And I think I'm done with this ability now, so I'm using this to produce 2 food, because I still have irrigation active. So I'm getting 2 tokens back at least. That's the play here. And now I have 2 gold, so I can use a stone to activate the ability of Princeps Civitatis to get 4 industry, but also to buy a card for exactly 2 gold. So I'm doing this. And I can pick up a temple, for example. And I can influence up to 2 adjacent developments. If I have influenced it before, that might help me to influence stuff that I'm not standing on. Or do I want to go for something simpler? Well, I should actually pick up a temple now, because I can pick up these for much, well, it's still cheaper. Yeah, actually I should pick up a sculpture, and probably the more expensive one. Have the goal in mind. With this I can get food whenever I get stone or iron. So let's do that. And it's much easier to build, and I will keep it in hand because I don't have a gold and I don't want to pick up a strife card. So I don't need more movement. I'm not sure why this is showing 3. I think it should show 2 because I moved to the fountain and there's no reason to stay here. So I think I want to go back to the farm to be able to influence it again next turn. but I don't need more movement. So let's just get rid of this. But I want to hold on to these cards. So there's no rest ability, but I do get these 2 tokens back, which I can use next turn again. That's nice. Replenish the market. So there's a lot going on here. And I think I still want, well, I did now use my ability that makes that cheaper, so it's more and more unlikely that I will actually be able to play them, but I only need 1 development really for this. And I do have this cheap ones here. So I want to see more level 2s. So there's an amphitheater for a lot of culture and a circus maximus for a lot of industry. All right, so this was replenishing the market. We did not buy anything here. We draw a new hand, up to 6 cards. So some military, some culture, and we could get a lot of culture with this here if we spend influence on a card that gives us stability, which we currently do not have, but we can get to this. So this was drawing, so we are in our turn 4 now. And we do still have an active contract that gives us an iron. All right, so we don't have technology here, but we probably want to play this now. So we can also develop this from hand, but we can also put it here first. It doesn't matter too much. And we do have the orator that gives us 2 culture, which is exactly enough. So I probably will just play this and build it. And I think I want to put it here. If I'm picking up a temple, this would be a good space, because then we can influence these 2 and get our production going. There's a mineral deposit that gives me 1 gold. Let's just put it here. So that's 2 glory points and a stability. That's our second stability only. So this step doesn't do anything. We don't need to fight. I can actually just trash the strife card. So we have a big pile here. That's not a problem. So just trashing a card in my hand is probably something I want to do. I don't need the military. Getting 1 strife from the pile and trashing both, which does mean that we can later use this to, for example, ready the sculpture. And I think I want to use this for movement then, because we don't need it for anything else. So that's 3. We do influence the farm. Did we get any industry? I don't think we did. Unfortunately, no. This could give us industry. So I would not be able to get food from this, but just from spending it, I will get 2. I think that has to do then. So we are influencing this and can't use the seasonal rains. So I think I'm using this now with the irrigation. It's still active for 2 food. And then I'm moving on. And I do think I want to move to the sculpture to influence it as well. It's not adjacent to development with industry build cost. I would have to put it beside the bridge to make that work. But it sounded quite pointless. So that's not doing anything as well, the inspiration. But we can use it now to gain 2 food or water after we gain any stone or iron. So this was movement 2. And maybe I'm moving to the aqueduct because I do plan to maybe get some gold here by spending 2 technology and food to gain gold. And then I have to reset or re-influence the tile. So that costs the last movement and we are done here. Again, we don't have enough technology to get the trades going. That's a bit sad. But at that point, maybe I'm just picking up individual resources or bundles of resources. There's no big difference and it doesn't cost that much. I could do that, for example, now with spending the influence here on the fountain to get 3 technology. That's enough to, for example, activate this or this here. Maybe getting some water would be good. Actually, I can use the reflect. I should think about that, even twice per turn. So I think I want to do that and get my 6 water again. That's just so insane. Which does mean I have a load of culture now if I want to spend this. Yeah, I think I want to use this now to gain the 3 technology to put this somewhere. And I think I'm just placing it there to get even more water. So the agreement ends right away, but I do get 2 more water. So I'm at 8. And that's pretty much it for the turn. I'm holding on to this. There's a resting bonus, but I do get back my influence tokens. Replenish the market. Well, there's nothing to replenish. Draw a new hand. So again, up to 6. We are in our 5th turn now, but we do get up to 7. So 3 more. So this one and 2 more, I mean. And we do get another iron from our trade agreement. And what to do now? I think I would like to buy to place a temple here, but I do still have to deal with this. Maybe ending this gambling was not good because it now hampers me with getting more gold. If I use these 2, I will get 2 gold, but I could have gotten 4 with all these water I now acquired. So I would have to get that going again, but I do need the 1 gold first. It makes it quite inefficient. Actually, maybe it's a play to go there and activate it, and since I must pay a gold, if I don't have one, I will get a strife card, but I can't just pay that back with the culture I have. So I can activate that before, so that's maybe the play here. I don't think the battering ram will be any good, so let's play that for movement. Dial it down to 2, and I will go here influence it and get a strife card. I'm always forgetting that I'm getting them to the discard pile. That's really sad, because it means in the last round you can't get rid of them just by playing culture. But the rules quite clearly say in the gain section of key terms and concepts that if you gain a strife or loan cards, put them in your discard pile. So I can't get rid of them right away, and in this sense this is not a good idea, unfortunately. So let's revert all this, 3 movement again. So I think I have to make do without this. So I think I will just go to the watchtower first, influence this, then spend it right away, so that for 1 iron and 1 water I do get a gold. And then with the last movement, so this exhausts this, I will go to the mausoleum to influence this, also spend it for the waltz ability after taking an exchange action. So I'm exchanging 4 water for 1 gold. I gain 2 of a different type of resource that was not part of the exchange. So I could go for ore for stone just to have it available. I think I'm going for stone just to have all the options. That's the movement and all the influence I have this turn. I think I want to spend the food to play the 10 leather for 7 technology to finally place this somewhere where I do get something for the remaining turns. 3 remaining turns currently. So I will get 3 resources. Maybe I'm putting that here to gain stone, but do not get the stone after all from the exchange, from the mausoleum, but get food instead. So I will have a supply of stone, because unfortunately this I haven't cleared yet, so to get another food production going. But I think food is not an issue, because I can always use the production here from the farm. But I just have to go get around to placing that. Since I did get stone right away, so it was in my turn. Usually I do get the resources from active agreements in the active projects phase, so that's outside of my action phase. But I did get it right now. I can activate this sculpture to gain 2 food or water whenever I gain stone or iron. So I do get 2 food. I can play the musician then to ready an influence on the development that provides stability. So I will ready this again. And at that point I think I'm just paying this to just be done with the edict here. I think that really concludes it. I think without, well, I do have to place something here, but then the edicts are already taken care of. So what else to do? I do need more gold, so I might spend the aqueduct after all, with 2 technology and 1 food. Well, I don't have a food anymore. Maybe I should have done that later. Yeah, so there's really no hurry to do this, so I should do this later and hold on to my 6 food, since I do still want to do things here. For example, use the aqueduct with 2 technology, pay 1 food and get another gold, because this will allow me to pick up my probably last building. Actually, I do have more turns, so I'm not sure if it's the last. But I will get a lot of influence tokens back. If I buy another sculpture, I can even get another trade deal token. So I don't have that many cards left, actually just 3. So maybe I'm just using the gold now to pick up the sculpture for 3. And play the physician for 2 culture to place it. It's already enough. So we can put that here to fulfill the Great Fire. We do get 2 glory points and another stability, which gives us exactly this token. And I think there's no rush. Well, actually, if I want to cycle something, I should do it now. But I don't have any gold to buy anything, and I'm not sure this will improve. So I do think I might want to move, but I can do that next turn. I hope I didn't cut myself short with this food here, but I did need to place the last development. So that's it for the turn. I'm, again, not getting any resting bonus, but I do get these tokens back. Well, if nothing else, I can produce food with this, with the sculpture. It's already influenced, so I think I'm fine. We replenish the market. It's really another level 2. So there's a Pantheon, 16 culture, but it provides 2 stability, produces a lot of resources, so 3. Once per turn, place influence on any 2 developments. Sphere of influence, that's insane. These level 2 developments are really awesome. And if you play for 4 rounds, you will actually get to use them, I think. But that was the replenishment. I'm drawing the rest of my deck, so this will be the last turn then. I do advance the round marker, and actually this is the second to last possible turn, so it's not a problem. I'm not playing too fast. Well, that's sad with the astronomy. I should have known that. But I might be able to make some money with this, because I should have territories or developments that give wisdom. Yeah, these are these 3. So if I'm influencing them, I can spend 2 on them to get gold, but I'm not sure if I can actually repay this, so let's see. So this will be the last turn, so the turn marker is already advanced. I will get an iron last time, and since I'm on the mausoleum, I'm thinking about doing an exchange here to get more resources, but it's my last turn then. So repaying the loan is probably out of the question, because we would need 3 gold, not 2. So where would we get the last gold? We would have to activate, well, we can influence the watchtower to get 1 gold, but we would have to influence 2 others, but we can do it. We need a total movement of 4 to achieve this, unfortunately, so we only have movement 3, so we would need to play 2 cards. Yeah, it's the placement of the wisdom cards that screws me here for the astronomy. But I also need to come up with food. So producing anything else, like stone or iron, I mean, would produce 2 food. That's exactly what I need to power this card and to pay this off. I think I'm missing a movement point, but it's not too important. It's just 3 glory points and we should have more than enough. I'm really looking forward to playing a leader that does not pay extra for buying developments, because this really hampers your progress with developments. Even though they are slightly easier to build, but I think that doesn't offset it in the slightest. The trade is nice, but if you're only playing 3 rounds, then again the trades won't be as good. This token doesn't do anything for us because we do not have technology left. So I think I will just influence the mausoleum and flip it for the waltz ability, where I do spend 4 iron to get a gold and do get 2 stone as a compensation, which then triggers the sculpture where I can get 2 food. So I'm spending 6, finally fulfilling the edict here. So let's see how many strife cards we have. 1 lone, 1 strife, and 1 lone in hand. So that's why it would be nice to trash that or pay it back. But I don't have anything to trash. But maybe we can try with using these 2 cards for movement, because we do have 2 influence left. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Influence these 2, then pay the final food for astronomy. Spend up to 2 influence on developments that provide wisdom, which is this one here, the fountain and the farm, which gives us 2 gold, and we can pay 3 to repay the loan. And displays all of our cards, which ends the last turn of the last round. We do not have a resting bonus. We would get the tokens back, actually all of them, but I think that's not important, as it's discarding, replenishment, drawing, advancing the turn marker. So after all, the game ends here with the 3rd round, and I just made it. Maybe with going more for the edicts and less for doing cool stuff in the end, maybe I could have even gone with the stronger version. But how do you clear out all strife by the end of the game? Because it means really, if you have a strife in your discard pile in the 3rd round, there's no way to get rid of it, at least not with the regular effects. And if you get them, you can't just get rid of them right away. Maybe I'm missing something here, but it really makes it harder, especially in a 3-round game. In a 4-round, that might be a difference, especially with the Great Fire as well. Because if I do not put out the fires in the first 2 rounds, if I put them out in the 3rd, they will go to the discard, and I can't get rid of all of them. And I would need to do that if I want to make the condition that I have cleared out all strife cards with Trajan's Market. Alright, but I did clear all the strife cards from the board. I did build the complete market, and I have a maximum of 3 strife cards in my deck. So this means I have cleared the criteria of the edicts, and I do need 20 glory points. I currently have 32, but I do have a strife card that sets me back 2 points. And I believe, have another lone card that sets me back 3 glory points. But that's it, so I'm ending at 27. I need 20, so I did win. That's my 2nd game, my 2nd win. I think really that normal difficulty, for at least for a Mage Knight player who is used to like a bit of optimization, it's quite manageable to do. I'm not saying it's easy, especially since there are luck-based things, and in the beginning it's really much to know what all these things are. It is iron, stone, food, water, what are all these things here, like this is culture, military, technology, and industry, and how this all interacts with the developments. But what I do like is the advanced action offer, so to speak, for a Mage Knight player. Always different in all of these games, and you do have a way to cycle cards to see more, and you are incentivized to pick up the lower cost ones or cycle them early before they become a problem, they become too expensive to cycle out. So I think with knowing the game, you can become extremely efficient, because you should not be surprised that if you buy cards and others then scroll down and then you don't want to pick them up, that they are too expensive to cycle. So you should really use your industry to cycle them early if you want to go for long rounds, and you should go for long rounds. That's a major difference to my first game, where I did not even play all the turns. And especially with the trade agreements and the leader like Augustus, every turn gives you resources, so you don't even have to play a card. Maybe you do for movement to make use of your influence. And I think my influence play was really bad in the beginning of the game. I think I used maybe 1 influence in the first round, because I have a hard time getting to the first development. So I think there's a lot of potential, and if you're going for 4 rounds, then you can do some insane stuff with the level 2s here. So yeah, I think that next time I will definitely go with hard. But again, there's an anti-synergy with these 2 edicts. I didn't want to risk it. And going for expert, like having 2 full edicts that will be quite hard, I think, for a short game. Not impossible, of course. And if you really know what you're doing, you can probably go for this, because you really, everything else you're doing, which is not paying into the glory point total or fulfilling edicts, is maybe in the end not worthwhile. And if you go for a long game, you can go as hard as 4 full edicts, which also makes you glimpse at how much you can do with the last round if you're playing 4, because this is snowballing and you are getting all these nice development cards. So I think these will be insane games. Looking forward to playing more of this game. But I hope I didn't make any mistakes. Please point out if I did, and see you in the next game.